This is just going to be a quick breakdown of the Super Bowl. I'm going to be on here for about 30 minutes. So, whenever you catch this, I'll just go. I guess earlier when I did my thing, I didn't introduce myself, but as always, I should introduce myself. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show, and I go by Big Pontiac, and I am the holder of the infinite sacred ball game created by the Hero Twins. So, and just giving my recap up to the point where my show went off earlier. Thank you. Dunamis. Dunamis. Well, thank you for joining me. So, I had kind of the best commercial. So the best commercial appeared to be the best commercial was Google. Out of all the people I was around, Google had the best commercial. Far as complete, I thought Google was the best commercial. The Ben Stiller Pepsi commercial was good. Fast and Furious commercial, again, a movie one. The McLight was good. That came in fourth or fifth. But the Google was the most entertaining of all the commercials. The second Bud Light one was decent too. There was a second Bud Light. So that was what was the commercials I thought were the top commercials. For those that didn't come in, hey, Dr. Sinister, hey, Crazy Sarge. So for those that didn't, yeah, Google was the best commercial. The Jeep Electric was decent, but we'll see if any of these live past long. But that was interesting. I do want to share kind of a way to kind of watch the script. So I do want to share that with everybody. Hey, Iron 5, what's happening? Starting in the fourth, let me tell you. Okay, so starting in the fourth quarter, this was just my observations in the fourth quarter. What I started doing is, even before they tied it up at 38-38, I just started looking at how, if I was doing the script and I was the Eggman alone, the Egghead man alone, like the Matrix God had all the TV screens, and I had all the bets in, and I'm looking at all this information. And then in the fourth quarter, I really started applying how this game's going to go. So I started even, not being emotional of what team, but I started taking point at 12:04 the fourth quarter. And then I still, like, every 2 minutes, I started looking at, like, how was the energy going? What did I think? And even before the Chiefs, he did that long drive. I think it was 10-11. I was like, wow. Now, one thing that I don't know, now maybe you guys heard this, but what the sideline on the Chiefs report was, the sideline reporter said the Chiefs did not change cleats. We saw hundreds of cleats today. You're talking about 50 men and they didn't change all their cleats. We know Hurst changed his cleats. There was unnecessarily painted on the field, and that's no excuse for anybody, but I just thought that was weird. And so we saw two receivers where one dude just points to the middle and he doesn't run to his receiver. I mean, that was just made no sense. Greg Olsen talked about, he talked to the special teams coach or somebody before that, and he said that there would be a deep punt return. So just these kind of clues. Oh, okay, and here we go again. I was just trying to catch, because I was doing commercials and everything, trying to catch the time reference. And then the timeout he didn't call early in the game, and then he wasted it a few minutes later, I thought was kind of stupid. So I guess to the point is, you can kind of start seeing where the change is coming. Even before the plays, you can just see the way the script might be writing. And so, but let me say this. Let me say this to everybody. Let me say this. Oh yeah. A ton of those. Definitely a ton of the Borgia commercial, like the world is going crazy without that. He's annoying now. But let me tell you why this was my funnest Super Bowl. My daughter we had a bet. I said earlier when I was doing it during the game, my daughter and I had a bet where she was going to have to wear Eagles jersey every day. I was going to make her wear the same jersey all week. And so she bet me. So my daughter, she didn't answer any calls early in the game. Like, well, I was streaming, so I was having my fiance text her and stuff. She wanted to answer it. And so as the game got near, and then once I went off, she started, when it looked like they had a chance. But then when the Eagles scored the late one, I sit back a little thing. But what's funny is we were more delayed when he was kicking the field goal. We were more delayed. So she called me. They had already saw it, but we were still kind of watching it. And so for that alone, and for my daughter to be into it, I thought that was great. I thought that was great. And so, yeah. So I had fun with my family. I had fun with my family. I guess I broke down Rihanna, and I guess I can kind of break down the halftime thing again. I thought something people might have not noticed. Hey, Liquid Fire, how you doing? Cry Eagles. Hey, Chiefs guy, thanks for joining. As I said before, let me kind of write this down. So what they did, let me see if I can kind of find some scribble paper here. So kind of what they did, and I don't know if y'all caught this. So they made something like this. And let me write this in here. And they had this. I don't know if y'all caught that. So they had the Shiva energy behind these 3 bars. I don't know if y'all caught that. They had the Shiva energy. The light blue was behind these bars. So when I saw that, I thought that was interesting. And we was all trying to see what the stage was looking like. And so we had a straight up Krampus, Satan, Santa, really the same energy that we saw in the Grammys. And so we saw where the Shiva energy was kind of locked away, and they let this Satan, Santa, Krampus energy come through. Hey, Robert, thank you for coming back. She with the Illuminati. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I mean, that's what it was. That same energy we saw in the Grammys, we saw it present itself. As I said before, it was the chessboard from Star Trek, the 3D chessboard from Star Trek looked. But it's the same energy. So they're showing you what energy is coming, because that's the energy that's fed on their 2 biggest ritual holidays. So you see what's getting fed. So it is not just in Shiva, it's a destroyer, and it's a builder of life as well. This red thing you're seeing is just a destroyer. Krampus is just there to destroy, to punish, and so that's what we're facing with the punishing. Oh, thank you. I'm not gonna do too long, but yeah, kind of I guess announcing we're finally we're still moving. I'm still moving, but we're finally I've got all my computer equipment. I've just got to put the room and put everything together. So bear with me. Yeah, and there's people that want to talk and bring you some more information about a lot of different things. One of my friends said I should break up the spiritual stuff with another channel, but to me, sports is the spiritual aspect of it as well. I mean, it's totally spiritual. And I think that's where some of the cats that ain't never really played sports, and this is not shitting on anybody, but it's I don't even think you can understand how much of a spiritual thing it becomes. Like, I got a book on Connie Hawkins there, and then we're watching, if anybody's watching this Bill Russell stuff, and you can see the similar stories, being younger men and struggling and then still playing ball. Do you understand? You still just play ball. And then one day you can peak at this fairly young. And in the lost hot days of summer, if you went to a park where everybody's just hooping and there's different levels, like if you imagine, you're a young fella, you got to hoop out here, but as you get older, you get to go to, till you get to this end of the court. And then one day you look at that court and you think, well, when is my time to dominate on that court? Because at first, when you go on it, you can't dominate. But then one day, you catch up, and everything, you got to catch up with you. And that becomes a spiritual aspect of any kind of sport. Any kind of thing you're going after. You can use these efforts of these lessons to go after whatever you and how you want to go after it. Sports is just one way of showing you. But there's many ways of pushing this energy out. And of course, sports also teaches you to be a soldier. The calisthenics, the running, the training. Warrior, at the least. Pulled off the home team wins at home. Chiefs being an exception, but State Farm Stadium and McHone's affiliated with them. Yeah, last 3 years. Yeah, we can't overlook that. AD still. Yeah, Robert, we can't overlook that. And that was pointed out, and they started showing those commercials with him and State Farm very early, and so that's the type of tell. The over and under was 50. It was 50 when I first could lock into it, so it was 1.5. So the Eagles didn't cover. The highest I saw it go was 2. So people that took the Chiefs won. The over, so a lot of money went out. A lot of money went out on the Chiefs. Wasn't as much money I thought as the Eagles, so a lot of money went out of the Chiefs. So they paid a lot, but that's what they want. The more people play, the more it goes. Hey, researcher. Oh, absolutely. It should correlate the same way. It should correlate the same way. Yep. It should correlate the same way. It really should. Sports should give you a drive. And so it's not just one way to be good at something. We all have, there's so many different things you can be good at. I've tried to tell people for years, a sports information director is a great job that you never hear about. But yet you're totally connected to sports. You're moving all your team sports. So there's a lot of great, it's a lot of great jobs. And you take this one passion that took you so far and you apply the same energy into something new. That's all. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. Because some of the things you can only do for so long. But you take advantage of the years that you can take advantage of these things, and you do them the best you can do. And then when, but all along doing other things. Jack, that's a great question. Yeah. There's always little hints and little tells through the season, and that's what all the geometry dudes. They're the biggest people on all these hints is the geometry guys. That's what they are trying to put together. They are trying to paint that picture too. But I come at it from, it is more than just the geometry. It is also the show part that you have to understand. There has to be a certain part of entertainment put in there. Now, I do not think what happened to that young man in the season was all fake, but it wasn't all real either. That is whatever happened to him, but that is entertainment. So either if it was real or fake, they still got value out of that story, if you understand how things go. So it's all based on an entertainment thing. It always has been. And pretty soon, they're going to have to, we are still going to put this out there. And the ultimate is to say, okay, yes, it is fixed, because you can look at all these contracts. You can look at all these license agreements. It's the same license agreement that is with everything else. Wrestling. But remember what they did to wrestling. They made wrestling say it's scripted. They brought them in front. And remember when McManus opened up the XFL, that Don dude had him on there with like, how can we, because wrestling's scripted, isn't this going to be scripted? But all of them are scripted. So, why do they sweat wrestling beside the other one? Yeah, the betting line was shrinking closer to game day in favor of the Chiefs. Yeah, it went up to 2. Actually, it was 2 at one point. So yeah, the money, the people got money on the Chiefs. Hamlin died, I think. He went to show his eyes in public, making it clones. Yeah, it's so many different ways, but it's like I don't even care about that. So what? Whatever that's doesn't surprise me. Whatever they did, it doesn't surprise me. But I don't fuck him. That's really what it is. It's fuck him. Whatever the story is, he lived or whatever lived. Okay, I don't care about that story. That I don't care about that story. Now, what happened to the person? There was some complicity somewhere there. Because he signed contracts to do, and whatever happened, we don't know. But whatever happened was still presented as a show. So that's how I look at it. So when I say fuck him, I say fuck that event. So no disrespect to the person, but the event of what they showed me, yes, fuck that. I don't care. Hey, Lorenzo, what's happening? So that's all. No disrespect there, but yeah, I don't care one way or another. I guess I will tell this little story. And I had to tell, gods have favorites. You understand that? They tell you in these myths over and over again. You watch Perseus, you watch Samson, gods have favorites, but that can go for us too, depending on how you feel about yourself. And so I'll tell this story and tell you how I had to spread this knowledge. So I played a semi-pro game. God, where were we? We were in like Holland, Michigan or somewhere. I got picked up by a new team. First half, I had 26. 26. I missed 1 or 2 shots. 26, just all layups, fouls, but just playing. The second half of this game, the people started freezing me out. They wouldn't pass me the ball. Now, I got 10 extra points. I should have ended with more like 50, and we won easy. And matter of fact, it was a good team. It's funny. I start telling the story. I can tell you another story. But anyway, we played cats out of Muskegon, and they ended up beating us. And matter of fact, I became friends with one dude, and I don't want to tell his story. It's kind of sad. But anyway, I never because the way they wouldn't pass me, I didn't let them change my game. And so going to these high school games, as the holder, God has his favorites. So I'm watching my nephew hoop, and it's like they let me go on the floor, and I'm just, oh, man, I'm just, to death. Up here dressing, come on. But anyway, I'm at the game, and so I'm like, I had to use the bathroom when it was a timeout, so I'm down on the floor, and I'm like sitting really next to their bench. And God's favorite is going through these issues that these high school people go through. And so, you have to look at it as this is a replay, because this happens all the time. These high school coaches think they have all these power, and all these high school players think that they just have all the game in the world, and nobody else can help. Like my coach used to call me Mr. Wonderful. Give me the ball because I can do it all. But there has to be a time where even when God's favorite looks at the God, and the God looks at the favorite and says, you got to be a man. There's no words, but just to look. Not to look at, I'm coming to comfort you. This is a battle. And this, to me, this is everything. And so you're not going to look at me and get emotion. You're going to look at the God, and the God is going to look at you and say, be a man in this. Be mature in this. So just wanted to convey that to everybody. Well, of course. I fell for that leak script and bet it on the Eagles. All the Super Bowls is rigged. Lorenzo, I lost a few dollars, but I had so much fun today. It was so worth it. I had so much fun today with my daughter. It was so worth losing. It just got her excited. And I know, because we've been doing this through the playoffs. And it's not that she doesn't like the Eagles. She just wanted to beat me, which is cool. So I had so much fun with my daughter. And you guys saw how the calls I'm getting, as I'm trying to film. Everybody's calling me scores and stuff, so I had so much fun. I had so much fun today. Oh my goodness. Man, I'll tell you, Now let's talk a little that we can switch to basketball. Uh, Vanderbilt is a great defender that LA got. I never understood getting rid of him. Vanderbilt is going to be a great pickup for the Lakers. He is going to be at a matchup with a lot of cats. Russell is can be a handful, and he is not out of control as Westbrook. Right now, he is shooting, I think, 42% from threes. Very efficient player. And Malik Beasley is J.R. Smith. He really is. He is a spot up, can give you 3 or 4 in a row. So that's going to be fun to watch how they script this together. So. But yeah, I had a blast today. Again, I'm sorry, it's not a whole lot to read into. I think I said everything about Rihanna. That kind of thing is just, that's what we're faced, and it's better. See, that's what's good about the way this beast wants to feed is it's good to know their intentions, and they showing you what energy is out there. The Super Bowl is the first biggest ritual, only followed by the Grammys, and the next week they encircle us with the race, the Daytona 500. Their biggest race is at the beginning of the year. Their Super Bowl is the first race. Now you tell me that's an ass backward sport. Do you guys know NASCAR? The Daytona 500 is their best thing all year. It's their biggest race. But they try to get you to go through energy. But isn't that interesting? Their first race is their biggest. So, yeah, Lakers. It's going to be easier to. It's going to be easier to follow that script. Everybody loving it. Oh, but it was interesting. It's like the team that can't be run on, all of a sudden they get run on, which is interesting because they haven't blocked everybody like that. The defense just didn't play like the defense, but it was a fun game. It was a fun game. The only reason why we even know about Shakespeare is because they rule the theater. And which one was Shakespeare? Bacon was Shakespeare, and they telling you, and I think that Shakespeare shit is a lie. All that shit is bullshit. All of it is a lie. Don't believe any of this history they try to tell you. This is some shit that's just made up. This is some, like our language, that Hans Christian Andersen shit. This is all this. Like these stories about who these people are just we don't know. No, I don't care about what they say. That stuff is all not. It's recent made up history. Like within probably my lifetime made up history. It's that kind of stuff. This stuff ain't ancient. Ain't no mysterious writer come out of nowhere. They try to get you to read this crap just because this is programming. That's why they keep this bullshit around. It's just programming. It's programming. We want you to read this shit to think that we're just great. No, this is a new, fairly new kind of thing. Whatever this is, it ain't ancient as they say. And that's more and more obvious every day. So, everyone talk about the Super Bowl was rigged instead of Chiefs winning. Good job. This ain't the first one they won, was won by a field goal. That goes back into 1970 when you had the Colts and the Cowboys. That was the first time a field goal had won. I threw a baseball at the little black and white TV that my dad had. I was so pissed because I hated the Colts. Oh, I hated the Colts. So that ain't the first one that won by a field goal. Look at Vinatieri. Vinatieri won 2. Shit, that kick Vinatieri did in New England, that may be fixed, but them 2 kicks in the snow, those was the most money kicks of any kicker ever. Them 2 kicks he made in the snow in New England, and he won 2 Super Bowls. So them winning by the kicks ain't no. It was a good Super Bowl. It was fun. It was fun to the end. It was strategically, they wasted time at the end, but it entertained me. Again, you just go back and forth and start seeing where it turns. And it's not, you just look at momentum. And that's what I was trying to follow. I was like, wow, I'm looking at the fourth quarter still, even when they was down. And I was just looking at it and I was like, man, this is where it's really starting to turn. Like I thought in the 1204 market, it started to turn. I really did. And I didn't even, I'm trying to think where, that was where, 455 down here. I was still just seeing, just how it appeared, just the energy going and how they were thinking. So even when they were up, I still was like, man, I don't know. All along the other things, they have places with the scripts. They do for Raiders and Niners. Next year's in Vegas. The rivalry between Niners and Raiders. Ooh, I like that. You could be right. A penalty decided the Super Bowl. Folks have over 10 million subscribers and are even football fans making videos on that Super Bowl being rigged. A penalty decided there's folks that have over 10 million subscribers that aren't even football being rigged. Oh, it's in trouble. Yeah, definitely in trouble. The interest, they're going to be forced to say that it's scripted. I mean, it's how long? It's like the reason why I've said this before, but I'm going to say this again. The reason why the NFL went to flag football, it had nothing to do with safety. The players didn't want to do that shit anymore. See, back when Jim Brown played in the 60s, the winner got $500, the loser got $200. They needed that shit. These niggas needed that shit. Not anymore. And so it went back in whenever Jared Allen, that Super Bowl with Jared Allen played in, they didn't tackle. And the refs started reffing the way. The DBs wasn't tackling up the receivers. They wasn't going at the back's legs or nothing. Then the following year, one play, remember the following year what they did? Do y'all remember the following year what they did? They did, you could draft like basketball did. So it wasn't a conference thing. It was, that kind of thing. Remember, they had one players on different teams. They had two players that was on the same team, and one headhunted his teammate. Do y'all remember that? That must have been 17. So 16 players was like, we ain't tackling this. And Gardell said he was going to get rid of it. And the players was like, fine. Because they didn't care about that vacation going to Hawaii. That was the big draw back then, was the vacation to Hawaii with your family. And players got tired of it. They didn't need it anymore. They could go somewhere better. So, and then that next year, head hunting. You seeing everybody hit hard. You see, but again, Pro Bowl ain't all pro. It's like a lesser honor. It's getting so obvious, and people are now catching on. Indeed. And Andy's last game in the Super Bowl against his former team. Definitely. That's what they was calling it. Lobo was calling it the Andy Reid Bowl. Andy Reid said he's not retiring. Well, if I had Pat Mahomes, why would I retire either? I ain't going to go too much longer. I wouldn't retire either. But yeah, I'm going to try to find a way to mix up the spirituality with itself. And so it's whatever the message you can hear. If you like the sports and the grip gloves or the manipulation, that's cool too. I don't try to force my opinion on anyone. I just say, look at life and the harmony that I mean, you could really create your story, each and every one of you. And that's what all this comes to. There's a harmony you can take from all this. And despite what this thing is, you can, take from it. What did the dude say? A little show. What did he say? He said it's real because you experience it. Well, you can influence your experiences. I listened to one young brother said, things are probabilities. Not necessarily. I don't accept that. Things aren't probable. You can make things possible. So there's no really probabilities in, the different kind of actions. I mean, the energy is what the energy is. And you each have the ability to use the energy in any kind of way you want to use it. So Nets Pacers will never win because they won in the ABA. I agree. That's why I think Utah too. Even though it wasn't the same Utah club, I think Utah too. Thinking about Derek Carr would go to the Niners and win a ring next year in Vegas. That's a good point, Aram. Wow, real good point. Did you catch where he had a guy by the name of Byfree where he exposed why the last 5 years the Rams, the Chiefs, have been the Super Bowl, exposes how the NFL owes the state of Missouri. Wow. Wow. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Bever Stein, don't forget the Nuggets too. It's funny how Charles Barkley had hatred for KD, and then he joined his old team. Yeah, Barkley wasn't even voted the most favorite sport person for Arizona. They voted the all-time favorite sport person in Arizona was Connie Hawkins. That's who was voted the most favorite sports person in the Arizona history was Connie Hawkins. And people forget Connie Hawkins was drafted #1. There was a coin toss, and Connie Hawkins was 28 years old, coming off knee surgery in Jabbar. And Milwaukee got, because whoever didn't get the other was going to get Jabbar or Connie Hawkins. And so that's why Connie Hawkins went to Phoenix. So not even Barkley, you ain't the all-time favorite there. It was like the sports person, I think, in Arizona. And, baseball ain't been in Arizona that long. So Spurs, but the Spurs never won. Remember, the Spurs never won. They didn't win in the ABA. Gerving, they never let Gerving win. And Gerving, he only played 1 year, I think, in Virginia before he went to before he turned around and he went to San Antonio because Dr. J left before. I saw a picture, with Gerving just with the Spurs without Dr. J. There's that famous picture of Gerving wearing 21. Because I think I told the story before. I think Gerving's coach had dudes on the team. I don't know the full story because Kenny McIntosh was playing back then. But some dudes wasn't supposed to be on the team, and Gerving got caught up in that at Eastern, and that's why he had to leave college. I don't know if he wasn't properly enrolled. I don't know, but I know some of the players were improperly enrolled, and he got caught into that. And you can see a picture of Gerving playing for Eastern Michigan. Of course, he's wearing number 24. Oh, did any of you guys catch the Bill Russell series? So check this out. Did any of you catch when Bill Russell went to play with the Olympics? They took pictures of him wearing USA. He was wearing 24. Did y'all catch that? And then when he played in the Olympics, he wore number 6. This was in, I think, the 56 Olympics. Yeah, the 56 Olympics. I was like, damn, baby, look at that. He got on 24. But then when they showed game footage, and then some of this Bill Russell stuff, I've never seen some of this footage that they've been showing with Bill Russell. I mean, long as I've studied this stuff, and I used to get films of this stuff. You could get films of some of these old games. And then, of course, when it started coming on this, I've watched, but some of this stuff was like, whoa, you guys have this? Where you been hiding this stuff? Oh. The league. Remember, the Spurs are known for having foreign-born players. There you go. That's right. Right now, it's down in Kyrie in Dallas. Yeah, I know Nets Pacers only win the ABA. Yeah, the Nuggets didn't. Yeah, the Nuggets didn't win the ABA either. So Nuggets could get a title too. They could. They lost. Remember, I don't know if y'all really remember this, but when Dr. J did the dunk, the fly dunk, the way they did that ABA, it was only, I think, 6 teams in the ABA at the time. And so it was the All-Star game where Dr. J did the dunk, and that dunk David Thompson did, where David Thompson jumped up the air. I've said this before. David Thompson jumped up the air. David Thompson did like this. David Thompson did like this and jumped in the air and jumped under the basket and came out of that. Oh, but I mean, when they didn't take a good picture, but he was like this in the air under the basket. Like he had balled his body up and he went under the basket and then he came off of it. Pow! They didn't get that. But anyway, my point was, they were the #1 team. They were in first place. So the All-Stars played the Nuggets. And then in the championship game, the Nets beat the Nuggets in the last ABA game. I think that was 76-77 season. There was a picture of Dr. J on the sports cover. It was like he was in the doctor uniform. It's like, can the doctor save the ABA? And he kind of did. But this is one thing that they're really reading this book about Connie Hawkins called Foul. I would recommend it to anybody. But they talk about so many different pro leagues that brothers had a chance to play in. See, people want to tell you because if you play rec ball, that's not semi-pro ball. That's what they want to tell you. They want to tell you didn't achieve your dream just because you played recreation ball. But in reality, that if you're playing and paying to go in these leagues, this is semi-pro sports. Man, it's always been like that. I mean, there used to be so many different sport teams. When I was a boy, there was a lot of semi-pro football. And that's what when people would say they play semi-pro football, it was like, and it was nothing more than the same thing I was doing playing basketball. Matter of fact, it was less. The year that, well, it was good when I was younger, but when I got 30 and played, yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. It's better to play basketball than to take all that beating for football. But that's the way. But it was so much opportunity. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain slipped a little bit because Wilt Chamberlain was playing. I found articles of Wilt Chamberlain was playing pro basketball in junior high. In 8th grade, Wilt Chamberlain started playing pro basketball. It wasn't like people didn't know him. It was just he'd show up somewhere. He would go with some men or some of his uncles or relatives, and he would go get paid. And then they would show these little papers. Everyone had papers back then, little newspapers. They're like, Wilt done went off for, they use a different name. I had a friend get suspended like that because that it was so common. They had to make laws against this. And he had signed his name instead of putting a fake name in. But again, it wasn't as lucrative as it once was, of course. But still, it's the playing and the experience. So, KD was shamed on the Nets. Well, remember what KD did. KD didn't go behind the 3-point line on purpose. So he's with the shit. Remember, he didn't go. He stepped. Remember that? I do a different size shoe. He had an excuse and everything. No, I've reffed too many games with young children where the children look down. As you make your move, you look down. So for him not to is on purpose. KD stood on the line on purpose. So who should be the next Niners quarterback to win the Super Bowl? Well, I'll tell you what, that boy's arm got pretty messed up. So I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be in shape to have any. So the young boy they drafted, that broke his ankle, I think he's the one that's going to take over. What is his name? Gary G, whatever his name is. That dude, somebody's going to pick him up. So, I want you to break down that fake punt return the fourth. Oh, yeah. Well, the way they did it, they tried to act like so we see how two players kind of ran into each other on that punt return. Remember that? Remember they were down there first and two of them kind of ran into each other and then the one kind of slipped, but everybody went on one side. Now the defensive all knows you kind of string it. See, when you punt, you do want when I'm catching a punt, I got my blocking set to one side. I've got everybody going to wall off. Well, you don't wall off on defense. Everybody just don't rush to one side. And that's what we saw. We saw everybody kind of rush to one side, and the people that really could have pursued him just like fall down. The first two dudes just kind of fell down. So, yeah. But then Ben Olsen saying he talked to one of the coaches, and one of the coaches says something about don't be surprised if it's a long return. So that kind of predictive programming. 2023 is the 40th anniversary. My favorite number, the number's 454. 454. Remember when Moses said, how's it going to go, Moses? 454. Remember Pieces of a Dream? My favorite number, the number's 454. 454. Remember that jazz song? The number's 454. It's catchy. It's catchy. I see the Chief logo back in 66. It had the states, Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Arkansas in the background. They had the Indian, but what I noticed, the Indian was dark-skinned. Not uncommon. That's why they wanted to get rid of that Washington Redskin. He was too much looking like them brothers. So that's why they got rid of that Washington Redskin. I should grab the hat. Let me see if I can get up comfortably and not knock everything down. Well, y'all know what it looked like. Shit, I don't need to get it. It looks like a brother. Like they ain't getting rid of that Blackhawk shit. And that's telling you in the Midwest. It's a, how long I've been going? Because, man, I got a busy day tomorrow. uh, but yeah, that's why they got rid of it. They got rid of those things is because of that. Um, yeah, it's starting to come out. You look at these pictures. Just look at the pictures. You know, look. I mean, really do a serious look at these pictures, and then start finding the names of the tribes and stuff. I mean, it becomes obvious that the slave story ain't all that's what it's told to be. There's many different stories. I mean, there's so many people taken off the coast. I mean, they literally did wipe out the islands. I mean, some of these islands, I mean, they literally did like work the people to death. And so they had to really replenish these islands, a lot of the islands. So they started taking people from here. So, I mean, this is the real history of what fake history they want to tell you. And now it's coming to fruit, and people are getting panicky. But it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. I mean, this reality in so many different ways is failing. Yeah. And so they've gotten whatever they've gotten more and more desperate. This thing is like really desperate. That's why it needs these rituals. That's why it has to scare you and spook you into showing you these energies that's out there. Because they straight showed you what you're facing. So that's the energies that's out there, and it's how you face that. So I'm not trying to but you mean we all bought into watching it. So when you watch it, you participating by watching it. So unless you are really strong, you know, it's going to influence you, and you won't even think it does, but it influences you just so much. You just it'll be there, and it might influence you on something. So you really got to look at this thing and say, understand that you know you're protected from this thing, and you understand that this thing is trying to manipulate and trying to get you to feed it, because that's what we do is we feed. That's why it wants to start all this controversy. It feeds it. You know, any kind of fighting it likes. That's the system. The system likes fights. Like I used to take these motherfuckers and go back and fight these motherfuckers. You know, just this thing loves that, and it will fight you if you can fight this thing. And like video games, you can go back and fight these motherfuckers. Love this shit. They will let you. They would be happy if you just fight them for life. This thing will really like you to do that. If you looked at your heaven as just going and fighting and killing, this thing will let you do that forever. It really will. It likes that much. You know, when they show you Westworld, you can go back to you can do this, and this thing has been helping people do this kind of thing. It likes that. And what people don't understand is this thing is so used to that it adjusts. It's like my 18-year-old self like sent me a message, needed something. So I had to go start looking like, because what happens, they try to change stuff back then. And for myself not aware then to like say, hey, whatever's out there, you need to look at me. So those are possibilities too. They want your line to be like, I was watching the Harry Potter shit. He's like, he wanted to take the pain out of the dude, remembering his sister. And he's like, you know, took the string theory out. You know, they want to tell you all this string theory. You know, they want to tell you that, you know, there's a donut vibrating and all these strings go to the middle donut. And the donut is the source. Like, oh, you know, this donut's in the middle, but we got to take these, you know, these strings and these tunnels to get there. Yeah, everything moves like that. Hey, let me get on that escalator. My brother was studying, talking about astrophysicists. I study that stuff too. But I expected tomorrow, you know, the script was not going to be a teen fair. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. You know, thank you. You know, man, you think I felt bad? That's why I made that commercial. Win or lose, I get to wear this shit. You know, everybody putting up their football shit tomorrow. All this shit goes put up tomorrow, you know. So I just had a ball. Oh, you know, my brother-in-law, he's talking shit, you know. My mother-in-law's partner, she's you know, she's from Kansas, so she's going crazy. Oh my goodness, it was just so much fun. It's just so much fun. And you know, it's there's so many levels of it, but yet, you know, I can be entertained. You know, and because that sounded like them, I can be entertained by it all. I can be entertained by it all. That's all. I can still find joy in something that's even corrupted and scripted. It's like a movie. We go to the movies and we're entertained. It's like, okay, like I'm going to see Cocaine Bear. It'll come next week. Cocaine Bear, I look forward to going to see a Cocaine Bear. It is the same thing. To go watch these games, Cocaine Bear. You know, we just, because their hold, you know, the grip they have to hold on the nation, they have these rituals at the beginning of the year. As I said before, they need us to believe that the year's changing, you know, when actually it's going backwards. You know, time should be 1 billion and something. No, we're going back. I mean, everything is less. None of this stuff was necessary that they brought into here. All these things and these so-called advancements that we think in technologies are not as advanced as what used to be. You know, I mean, at one time, this is all you needed. You was in the Americas and you had something like this. This is all you need. And I know, what do you say? What was that movie where they were tuning? You could tune this. You see that? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? So this technology ain't nothing new. Like, you know, Staley did today. She was fresh in that Randall Cunningham jersey. Oh my goodness. I know they had a good time there in them luxury boxes. The Super Bowl is like no other party. But y'all saw them. Y'all saw all of them had to be there for the ritual, you know? This ain't even their thing, but yet they got to be there for the biggest ritual. They got to be live at the ritual because the ritual, you know, the ritual requires a little bit of their energy too. So they're feeding it by being there. And that's why all these people are there, because they're feeding this ritual too. They're being fed on. And it's almost, I mean, if you can imagine that, you've got all the key top people in these industries there. Yet you know this thing is feeding. So you don't think they had to, you know, what did they do when they went in the Matrix? They had to plug them in the back. You don't think LeBron and them is like hailing? You know, you don't think that at some point when they was doing this stuff, it was some kind of Baal, you know, some kind of surfing of energy. You don't think when she was singing and the image of tree and that energy, you don't think it's a thing in there like that that's getting high on that shit, you know? That do you see this? Do you see how these creatures feed? It takes all that. It took all the Grammy music energy last week to build up to this week. And so if it wasn't enough that first half, they hit you with the full ritual. And they know everybody's watching, so everybody's sucked in. And remember, what was it, Batman Beyond, when Jim Carrey had the thing that pluck people's heads, you know, this energy is going out. And it's kind of sort of like that. You know, we're engaged in it. We're engaged and we're watching it. And so it's kind of, we're agreeing to like, okay, get a little bit of me too. Instead of dodging this stuff. Have these barriers up. So it's pew, 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 pew. But still, a little bit trickles in. So, yeah, it's like a mandatory meeting. Exactly. It's the biggest ritual of the year. Bigger than anything. I mean, I've watched every Super Bowl. And this is, I mean, we didn't really start having parties until the Dallas Super Bowls. So 90. I've told this story before. I was 20, I don't know. I just got like a 35-inch floor model. And my friend was having a party. And I just really didn't want to go. I wanted to watch my TV. And I was like, man, I can't make it. And I know it's about to, you know, having a party with everybody. But that was rarity. That was probably 83. Yeah, that was probably 83. So, and really 90, what was the Cowboys' first one? 93 or that generation? 86, and then yeah, it was early 90s. Yeah, so whatever that was when people really started having parties. Was the Cowboys. The 3 out of the 4 of the Cowboys, that's when people was really having parties. Yeah. Because Because I want to say them, like even the early 80 ones. Yeah, it was probably, that's when I noticed. And that's when people were putting more out. So it gave me a headache tonight. But that's how they feed this bean. I mean, it takes all that. It takes the sacred ball game. So it takes the first half of them playing. So see, even meditating, you have to have energy. I mean, you just like can't sit here and think that it's just going to come. You have to have something moving. That's why you see me with the singing bowls. You know, you have to make something move around you, because there's natural energies, and you really have to have something that's really. And so that's how this thing fed tonight. So that's why you saw the whole they showed the whole pageantry, tonight. That's what they did. You saw the full effect of this thing. And I know I throw the name Yadaboeth, which that is the name of this thing too. So it's like it's one thing that changes into another thing that changes. I mean, but it's all one thing. And so just like God's name, what Lilith did, Lilith was like, fuck you, I know your name, beam me up, Scotty. So you think it will be a ladies Super Bowl? I heard that theory before. I don't know. Got, like, they were showing the touch. Could women do touch? Yeah. People like the ones where they play with the bikinis and the brassieres. My mama threw Super Bowl parties because her birthday was around that time. Some years on the same day. Well, my boy's uncle, his Super Bowl, for years, his birthday is probably just had his birthday late January, and for 4 or 5 years it was always around his birthday. But I watched the Super Bowl go from the Super Bowl was in December sometime, and okay, the Super Bowl was in December, and yeah, now it's February. Like 2 weeks into February. So they are getting more and more. And now the USFL is going to pick right up. And the USFL is a feeder system. And that was one of the most rigged court cases where they really could have done what was voted in favor of. The NFL could have been forced to merge with those USFL teams. If the penalty would have been harsh enough, they would have been forced to allow those teams into the NFL. That's what they want. And then a backhand agreement, it destroyed the USFL. And then they come back and they pick it up. Does Donald Trump still own that New Jersey General team? But he helped destroy the NFL. And Trump helped. Someone said that the NFL is in trouble. Trump did help that. That Kaepernick stuff. That was Trump's revenge. He said that back then. That was his revenge. So it's still, it's not what it was. It's not what it was. And it's funny, and I'll say this again, people try to talk about is sports being changed. So really, if you look at what the NCAA was a dictatorship in every way, shape, and form. And the NCAA was making billions. They were making billions. And I might even be on this channel. You can go back and find it. And I broke down what they paid all the players at the 64. I broke down what each player should have got. And it was something like millions. So if you took the team of 64 and the amount of billions that they made, it still came to something like, if it went to all the players, and you divide the 64 by 10 players, it was still something like 7-8 million per player. So that they should have been paying these people, and how long they got away with it. And so to say that it takes away the purity or destroys the game, how didn't these people that were stealing money from the people that were making it? Quantum of science. Tell me that. Explain that to me. How did that destroy the game? Wasn't that more of a destroyer of young men? That these young men in their careers have made millions? Owed upwards of probably 20 million in some of these big time programs, yet they got nothing. So you're telling me that wasn't that, but you're telling me now because these players can get played, that destroys the game. Only a person that has really no real life experience would say something stupid shit like that. So, lame, you're lame. You know, you want to be God in your house, be God in your house. I'd rather be God out there. I ain't scared out there. Matter of fact, I have more fun out there. I want to teach y'all how to have fun too. That's what it's all about. Hey, thank you, Leon. I hope I'm saying it right. You know my shit is all. I called her the queen of Super Bowl parties. She didn't watch not one game all season, but Super Bowl came around. She acted like she watched it all. Oh yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a smart business move to have Super Bowl second Sunday in February because Valentine's Day. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Easter, you know, you guys get the powder blue suits with the powder blue Godfather hats with the powder blue gaiters, you know, wipe me down. That was the cool thing about Easter. Just get dressed up. We wouldn't go to church. Just people have little dinners and stuff, dressed up. Not like that anymore. But like people, because earlier in the day we went out to the mall just to get some walking, but we had some business out there too, and it was funny. It was pretty busy. We were seeing the restaurants and stuff. It was pretty busy, but we got some walking in. Got to do a little business out there. Yeah. So, but I got to go. Busy day tomorrow. Travel day. So moving a lot around tomorrow. So, but tell you what, brothers, thank you for rocking with me. Gosh, I should show you this monster my son bought. Let me show you this monster my son put together for me. So that is that monster that my son put together. Yeah. And we still got the NordicTrack in the room. So getting the storage together and everything. Like millions of books. Like I haven't even, like my altar. This is my altar, and I don't even, have really a good place for it yet. So, but tons of stuff to read and research. So, but hang in there with me, guys. Bear with me, and yeah, get some of this good information out, and start attacking the NBA season coming to an end and how they scripting that. Because I think I've got a formula that I think we can all apply now. So I'm gonna keep working on that, watching, and thank you for rocking with me. No, hey, stay up. Did you get no? But we go out like every night, so we go up the street and they have Bally. Because what it is what is it called? Dish Networks drop Bally. My cable service dropped Bally. Bally just did not honor for the second time. They defaulted. So they're not going to own that very much longer. It does not appear. They just defaulted for the second time on their loan. So that's why everybody over here is dropping them, because it looks like somebody's going to come in and buy Bally. So, and my team ain't playing good. I mean, went out every night last week. They lost 3 in a row. They just won last night. So, yeah. But we're going to a game. Oh, man, I'll try to see if I can record at least when we go to the hockey game, because we're going to a hockey game. So that's going to be fun. So, I as I said before, y'all, I got to used to get speaking again. But I go to these games and I'm the same cat. I am the same cat and I enjoy it. And so I go to these games and I get to be I get to watch. Like, one thing I do when I go to the high school games is I search out the JV players and I search out the freshmen and I see if they won or lost. When I walked to the gym and I saw one of them, because they see me now, they kind of know I ask them, so they kind of come up to me. And so I saw Elamine. Elamine's been he's been at the last couple games because his sons play. But his one son, he's like, hey, I was like, you win? He's like, yeah, I dropped 30. I was like, dang, he dropped 30 on JV. So I find the freshmen to see how, because I care about all of their growth. I care about all of their growths. I enjoy watching both teams. So the guys can still have favorites. Keep that in mind. You have positive thoughts. You have positive actions. Hey, Brother James. No, thank you, James. Oh yeah, it's just putting this stuff up. We got, yeah, I've got it. It's just moving this stuff around, getting it together. I got to take these other posters. I got to get another frame because yeah. So getting it together. So bear with me on this. I think everything on the computer because the monitor's in here and everything, but we're switching tables out because there's an loft office behind me. It's her loft office. So we're swapping tables. So we're putting a NordicTrack into that room too, because there's more than enough room. And yeah, bringing that table in here. So still moving. So yeah, you guys can dig it, but gonna have fun. So look for me. I'll try to post because it's kind of hard the schedule so far. But I'm going almost every Wednesday, Tuesday, Friday, always at a game. Tomorrow's a travel day, so be moving around. But yeah. But thank you for coming. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate it. Yeah. There's a little bit, well, a lot that I look forward to sharing and hope it's a better presentation because that's what it is. It is all about presentation and participation too. So I check out the JV and freshman team, see how the future on the team looks. Oh yeah, absolutely. I just don't get to go early enough. I mean, just the way the schedule is, and for us both to go, we can't go see the earlier games. So I have to seek them out. And I sat next to one of the fathers at the JV game because most children take the way it is up here is if you're on the JV, you dress for varsity, play or not. So you'll play your JV game and then you'll dress for and sit on the varsity bench. That's pretty standard up here. Not the freshmen. Well, sometimes there's 3 teams. There's also called a sophomore up here, so it's a little different depending on participation. So some days there's 3 games going up to the varsity games, and some games there's only freshman, sophomore, or freshman JV game. Sometimes there's 3 games. So there's freshmen. There would be freshman, sophomore, and then the JV game would be the last game. Well, JV then going into varsity. So that's how it is here, if they have enough and have sophomore teams, because football is like that. Football would be, you could play technically, if you were a junior, you could play in the sophomore game, you could play in the JV game, and then you could play with the varsity too. That's how they do football up here. You could actually play in 3 games in 1 week. It's allowed up here. You can play so many quarters per each level, but yeah, that's how it's set up here. So it's kind of interesting the way some do it. But that's how you have to feel about it. And it's like being like I was just talking about. There was a being in the Super Bowl that all it really wanted to do, it forced everybody that it helped, helped get in their position. It forced them all together. It forced to pledge a day to it, to pledge whatever blood moved to it. That's what it did. But we don't need to do that. We each have the power to be left alone by this thing and write our own story. That's what it is with this. And so each one of you write your own story. So I'm gonna finish, do something I used to do, and hope, yeah. So I'm gonna give out a spirit animal, and this tonight's is the spirit animal is the spider. Spider wove the web through the human's first picture of the alphabet. The letters were part of the angles of her web. Deer asked Spider when she was weaving why all the lines look like symbols. Spider replied, "Why, dear? Is it time for Earth's children to learn to make records of their progress in their Earth walk?" "Dear," answered Spider, "they already have the pictures that show them through symbols and stories of their experiencing." "Yes," Spider said, "but Earth's children are growing more complex, and their future generations need to know more. The ones to come won't remember how to read the petroglyphs." So it was that the spider wove the first primordial alphabet, as she had woven the dream of the world that had become to manifest. That kind of goes a little bit into Mu, too. Spider's dream of the physical world had come to fruition millions of years before. Spider's body is made like the number 8, consisting of 2 lobe-like parts connected at the waist, 8 legs. Spider is a symbol of infinite possibility of creation. Her 8 legs represent the 4 winds of change and the 4 directions on the medicine wheel. Spider weaves the webs of fate for those who get caught in her web and become her dinner. This is similar to humans who get caught in the web of illusion in the physical world and never see beyond the horizon in the other directions. Tunnel vision. The web of fate also represents a wheel of life, which does not include any alternatives or solutions. It is typically the web of fate represents a wheel of life, which does not indicate any alternative solution. It is typically human to get caught in the polarity of good or bad fortune without realizing that we can change it at any time. If we are not decisive enough about changing our lots in life, we may end up being consumed by our fears and our limitations. Spider is the female energy of the creative force that weaves the beautiful design of life. Her web has hundreds of intricate patterns and caught in the morning dew. If the spider is dropped from her web into your cars today, she's telling you to create, create, create. Look for alternatives to your present impasse. She can be warning you that you are coming too close to entangling situations. Spider could be asking you to use a journal to write out and review your progress. If you do this, you will not forget how you are creating a new or different phase in your life. Spider brings a message of a different kind of what she sees you becoming a bit too involved in the weaving of your life, plans to notice opportunity at outskirts in your web. If this is the case, Spider gets your attention that you notice that something you have woven has borne fruit. Congratulations. Spider caught you just in time before you miss the opportunity on the edge of your web. The most beautiful message of Spider that you are an infinite being who will continue to weave the patterns of life, living throughout time. Do not fail the expansiveness of eternal plan. And I know I talked about string theory and the card was a spider, but hey, that's how the card came out. So that's the energy. And I like that, to hear others say they give freely, because that's what it is. I give freely. So thank you guys for coming. And for sure, till we meet again. What does it say? We have JV girls and boys, followed by varsity boys and girls. In the football, JV play early in the week and varsity would play later in the week. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Yes, that's true too. Wow. Yeah. Up here, it is so many gyms that they knock all those games out at the same time. Yeah. So yeah, it would be everybody playing. So there are so many gyms. So like I had forgot even that aspect of it. So like my daughter's school, they built 6 more courts. So yeah, they all would be playing games at the same time. If it was JV, if it was freshmen at a certain level, they would be playing girls here, boys there. Yeah, that would be going. But they have enough here. Almost every school has enough courts to handle that. So it'd be 2 JV games going on. Like the boys would probably play JV. I don't know. I don't know. We have JV girls and JV boys first, followed by boys and varsity girls. Wow, that's a lot in one day. That's a lot in one day. But thank you, Lorenzo. So yeah, until we meet again, definitely say less, y'all.